The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, I mean, there's so many wonderful serial killers.
And hello everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Television. The original broadcast date is October 25th, 2019. And yes, we are in the season of Scarefest the 13th. And FYI, before I forget to tell everybody, we're not going to do a show next week. We're going to do some Facebook Live stuff, but I'll be at an undisclosed location becoming inebriated. So, but we will, I'm sure we'll get on Facebook Live and do some BS and all that stuff. Tonight, now we're going to have, of course, my co-host is Cece Ann. This is her first official co-hosting gig. And just because I turned her loose on it, she made it difficult. And now we have like 3 guests tonight. So, we're going to be clicking buttons feverishly. Adam Hutter of the World Oddities Expo is going to be talking to us here in just a moment. We're going to be hearing about that and all the, and I just love the behind the scenes stuff that has to go on to put on any type of convention, because people, you have no idea. You have no idea. We got some things to talk about with the Scarefest. We've got, we'll do that later in the show. I am going to give away, I don't know where my gift card went. I've got a whole stack of them. I'm going to give away a gift card to Shakespeare and Company in Lexington, Kentucky. And I'd give you the address, but I don't have the gift card now in front of me. But we're going to give away one of those, and we'll do that. We're going to do it on Facebook. We're going to do it probably about somewhere after the 30-minute mark. I'll jump in and we'll do it sometime then. And other than that, we're going on with the show. So, Mr. Adam Hutter, welcome to Scarefest Television.
How do you do? How do you do? Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. Now, the World Oddities Expo. Let's just go ahead and start. Now, this is everyone. This is in Baltimore. It's November 1st through 3rd, next weekend. If you want more information, I'm going to go ahead and get the plug in. It's woetothee.com, WOE2THEE, woetothee.com, but you can Google World Oddities Expo and it comes up like a dream. Let's just go ahead and go there. What got you interested in the oddities of the world?
I'm from Florida.
Well, see, now I could use that excuse from Kentucky, and any of us could do that. I love Florida. I would, if it didn't cost so much, I would retire in Florida. But you described a lot of the stuff that you do, and we were discussing oddities. And at Scarefest, our idea of oddities is like haunted items, the occasional 2-headed bird. But you've built an entire convention around some really weird stuff. So that has to come. That's not to do a convention for this. That's not a casual interest, dude. That is something that's deep in your heart.
Well, my interest and my background lies in natural history. I was, like I said, raised in Florida, and I spent a lot of my youth cataloging the insect and marine life, trying not to get eaten. And somewhere in there, I amassed a sizable collection of natural history stuff, and somewhere amidst just being a passionate nerd, there was this amazing world that opened up around me of burlesque and sideshow performers and the good folks in the tattoo industry and the horror scene. And I mean, as far as my business is concerned, I focus on natural history, but if it's interesting, I'm interested. So haunted items, Ouija boards, give them to me. Mounted insects, animal skulls, I'll take them too. Horror, burlesque, I just solidified a facet of the convention today that we have a new sponsor. The great folks at Entosense are going to be sending some edible insects with a couple of the contestants from Naked and Afraid. Gabrielle and Riley are repeat offenders on that show, and they're great. And they're going to do an edible insect buffet, which, I mean, the only thing better than oddities is food. So
I guess the question is, will they be naked?
You know, everybody asks me that. At least not until the after party, but that's all on them.
There goes the tickets. He's pushing. He's getting that plug in. Now I get the interest now. And like I said, I'm fascinated with this stuff. But now this is your first year with the expo, correct? The actual expo.
Yes and no.
Okay, well, give me the background on that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, give me the background. Well, the way you kind of hedged that a little bit.
Well, last year I threw the Philadelphia Oddities Expo, and I just took the time, put it together, and I held it in one of the nation's largest insectariums and butterfly pavilions, the Philadelphia Insectarium. And it was great. We had live suspensions. We had people swinging from hooks through the butterfly pavilion. And we had vendors and tattoo artists and a lot of live art and a lot of great things going on. But I felt like one day was not enough. Some people traveled hundreds of miles, and they were staying in town for a night. And, you know, they were there just for my show. And so I tripled down, and I made a deal with this Art Nouveau monolith right in the inner harbor of Baltimore, the Lord Baltimore Hotel, where they filmed House of Cards. It was voted the most haunted site in Baltimore, like 9 years running or something. But it's just straight out of American Horror Story. It's beautiful, and just it has an air about it that I just couldn't turn away from. And also there was a room there called the Versailles. And inside the Versailles, there's a faux wall opened up. And if you go in there, there's a small room. And in 1928, when the hotel was built, that was a speakeasy that had a stairwell leading up through the ceiling to the floor above. One of my original concepts for the event, for the entire event, was going to be the Speakeasy Circus. And I was just going to activate all of my friends in the sideshow community, because I have a lot of them. I have a touring freak show, so I tend to rub elbows with carnies and sideshow performers. And so I wanted to do an electro swing dance party, just filled to the brim with talented, unique individuals in their, dressed to the nines and dancing the night away. And that was the concept, but it didn't translate to a convention. But it certainly, when we focused it into an after party, really took shape. And I'm really excited for that. That's Saturday night, November 2nd, during the convention.
CC, over to you.
Well, I am just so excited you're here this evening, because I have been waiting to talk to you live about other things that we can expect to see at the Oddities Expo. You've got more than just naked girls eating bugs. You have an odd taxidermy going on. You've got great tattoo artists that are going to be there. You have some psychics that are going to be there doing some readings. You also have weird home decor and dark jewelry for people. So tell me, you have some workshops going on. What can people expect to do in your workshops?
So the workshops are pretty varied. There's there's technically 4 workshops, 3 styles. We have taxidermy, insect pinning, and owl pellet dissection. The owl pellet dissection is really just fun for any age. If you want to go up there, it doesn't cost a lot. And these are all being held on the 19th floor, which is cited for the most paranormal activity. And the insect pinning workshop is going to be hosted by an entomologist, Patricia Nichols. And the taxidermy classes, one of the classes will be a 2-headed chicken that you create yourself. And the other is called a guinea lope, which is the same concept as a jackalope, only done with a guinea pig with starling feet for antlers instead of the traditional jackrabbit with roe deer antlers that you would see.
Very interesting. Now,
Yeah.
I know that you are going to, though, have lots of things there that are oddities, that are kind of out of the norm, that were real congenital defects, though, as well, correct?
My production, one of my productions is called the Twisted Kingdom Freak Show.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we have no reproductions. We have no pictures. It's all real congenital anomalies. And it's packaged like the sideshow of old, with the, the what is it, 5 cents kind of thing. But it's real credible information as to why these things exist in nature. And they do. I just recently acquired a beautiful 2-faced cow skull that I'm looking forward to unveiling.
Wow.
It's just been a long-standing passion of mine, kind of ties in with the natural history thing. It's like, when somebody collects something like an obscure collection, they have Transformers, right? And they have all the Transformers that were ever made. They've got a sizable collection. But somewhere in there, they're going to have a very select few of, like, the misprints and the rejects that are super rare. That's sort of how I view congenital anomalies, aside from just being amazing and interesting.
That's amazing. What is the most interesting one that you have on display, in your opinion?
I had a 2-headed dragon, a bearded dragon named Prometheus and Bob. And I woke up every day and I fed my 2-headed dragon as I walked through a world where people told me magic was not real. And Prometheus and Bob sit peacefully in a jar in the Twisted Kingdom Freak Show, and they will always be my favorite.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. How about, go ahead.
I was going to say, these are small components. We have dozens of vendors from all manner of peculiarity, artisans from all over. We have the Oddity Ink Parlor, sponsored by the Villain Arts Tattoo Convention, with over a dozen artists. We've got the Baltimore Theater, is a 100-seat theater. And aside from one add-on, which is Saturday night, the entire duration of the show, Friday evening, all Saturday, all Sunday, we're going to have a series of live performers in there, guest presenters, archaeologists talking about, cranial osteology and taxonomy. I make that sound a lot more nerdy and boring than it is. They're going to bring a variety of different skulls and teach you about some of the genetic markers and the differences between the animal and the human. We've got speakers on true crime and murderabilia. I think, don't quote me on this, but one day there's a presentation on John Wayne Gacy, and there's a Jeffrey Dahmer workshop. There's a woman named Catherine Fahey that is an amazing artist. She creates what they call crankies, and they are Victorian panoramic dioramas. So if you'd imagine like a big frame with a light behind it that showed a scene, maybe a forest, and somebody will crank a knob and it's essentially a scroll. And as she speaks, they crank the knob and it sort of changes the set like you were watching a play. And behind it, because it's backlit, they do like a puppet show. Mm-hmm. And that sounds a lot more amateurish than it is, but they're actually pretty horrifying and adult concepts. It's not necessarily for children.
Wow, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to enjoy some of it, but at the end of the day, that's not really my part in all this. My part in all this is to present it to everybody else.
Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it. It sounds like you have some amazing things for our viewers to see. Now, you've also invited us to do a paranormal investigation at the Lord Baltimore.
Yes. Yeah, good luck.
Absolutely. So a lot of our viewers are familiar with Jennifer Anderson, who will be lead paranormal investigator on this investigation Friday, November 1st at the Lord Baltimore. And our next guest will be joining us with her husband, who are very famous psychics in the Baltimore area. So Casey Lane and her husband Brian will be there. And I just wanted to thank you for letting us do that. And I'm very excited to see what we find there.
Yeah. Be forewarned, the 19th floor where you guys will be held is where they have the most activity. So, you know.
You mean that's where the party is?
Yeah. Also, I'm not responsible for whatever may come of it.
Okay.
Just from a licensing standpoint.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's go to our commercial break, everybody. You're watching Scarefest Television.
Hey, Billy Crank here with Scarefest TV, here with Jeremy and Dean, owners of Wicked World. How long you guys been doing this?
Actually, we originally started back in 2005 and moved into a warehouse in 2006 and actually moved to our new location in 2010.
What's different from last year that you guys are doing this year?
Well, this year we put a lot of work into our trail, our outdoor attraction. It had stayed roughly the same for about 4 or 5 years, and so this off-season we decided to pour the time and the money and the effort into it during all the hot summer months, and we rethemed about 3/4 of that trail. We renamed it Valley of the Dead. Got a ton of new stuff on it. So far the response has been phenomenal. Everybody's been loving it, so if you get a chance, come out and check it out.
Kind of expanded our midway, got a new ticket booth, had a DJ booth, which Mr. Crank mans for us every night.
So the atmosphere here has changed.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a bonfire. We've got concession stands a concession stand with lots of food, lots of great food. And we've got music. And let's see here, November 2nd, Blackout Night.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about Blackout Night. What is Blackout Night?
Okay, Blackout is something new that we're trying for this season. It's a bunch of other haunts have done in the past, but we thought we'd give a shot at it. What it is for one night only, on November 2nd, for Nightmare, our main indoor attraction, we're putting all of our actors from all the 3 attractions just into that one. We're overstaffing it. We're cutting off all the overhead lights, and each group gets one glow stick to go through. Everything else is still rocking, but that's your only light right there, okay? So I start to say it's going to be one heck of an experience.
This is Billy Crank, over and out, Scarefest TV. Back to you, Wes.
Akashic Awareness is a metaphysical healing and learning center unlike any other. A large selection of crystals, gems, and minerals greet you as you walk in the door, but from that point onward, the journey is yours. They offer a great selection of metaphysical tools, state-of-the-art holistic healing, with classes and lectures scheduled throughout the month. Akashic Awareness is open Tuesday through Saturday, noon until 6:30, 7 on Friday and Saturday. Visit their website for a current calendar of their almost daily special events and guests at akashicawareness.com. And while you are there, be sure to join their email list to stay current. Akashic Awareness, 328 Sycamore Street, Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest Television. Tonight we're talking to Adam Hutter of the World Oddities Expo. Now, one thing I saw on the website that I want you to tell me about. You're giving away a damned human skull.
And what's his name?
That is correct.
Where does one get a human skull to give away? A, because I had to beg for gift cards, and B, what is going to be your tell us about the skull.
Well, technically, I'm not sure that people in Kentucky can win. The rules are on the website, but there are 5 states in which human bones are sadly not transferable, but they come out of medical collections and antique stores and estates. And just like with every other 2-headed animal or what have you that comes down the pike to me and somebody says, well, how do you get that? When you're weird enough, it comes to you. But as far as the oddities world goes, it's really kind of special to own your first human skull. And I talk to people hundreds of times every year that look at them longingly because they just don't have that kind of money. And I had an extra little beauty in my collection, and I said, to hell with it. Let's have a marketing scheme. And I wrote a very sincere message that's on the website that I hope whoever wins her loves her dearly and that she's something special. And if you go on the website, www.woetothee.com, WOETOTHEE.com, or at World Oddities Expo on Instagram, it's basically a share contest. You don't have to buy a ticket. You don't have to come to my show. You just have to do your part to spread the woe with me. And we'll select a winner at the show and ship her to you free of charge as long as you are above the age of 18 and live in a state where you can legally own human bone, which is all of the lower 48 sans 5 states.
We can't even ship wine in Kentucky, so I can believe that we're one of the ones that are not eligible. I love that you just happen to have an extra human skull lying about. I have to admit that. I was looking through some of your vendors here. It's a fascinating collection. I'm just seeing your featured vendors, of course. That's the way we do it too. I did want to ask because I see that. I'm assuming this has something to do with palm reading. What is your you've got this investigation coming up that night with Casey Lane. How do you feel about the paranormal?
Me particularly?
You in particular.
I'd like to think that we are, from a scientific perspective, all just molecules vibrating on a frequency together. And so with that being said, there has to be other frequencies all around us that we just don't pick up on.
Now, I assume that you also, by Casey doing this, I agree with what you just said, but do you believe that certain people are more tuned in to that frequency, as you put it?
Well, sure. People talk about a freak animal. People talk about autism being on the spectrum, and some people say that it's the next phase of evolution in the human condition, and that we're developing advanced abilities through trial and error. Our genetic strands are fine-tuning themselves constantly, almost like an organic AI. And so, yeah, the logic would dictate, I guess, that the same would be said of people that were predisposed to be more in tune to other frequencies or have other abilities.
I just want to say that was a beautiful answer, better than anything I think I could have come up with. And I believe in all this stuff. That was very good. Okay, we're going over to CC again. CC, you got about 4 minutes till the break.
Okay, I have to ask, because I am a huge fan of horror, and a lot of our viewers out there are. What is your favorite horror movie?
Oh, I'd say in the last decade or so, they butchered a lot of it. But I'm from what I consider the golden age of horror. I grew up around your Jasons and your Freddys and your Michael Myers, which I am not a fan of. Michael Myers seems like the castrated version of Jason. But I am a Leatherface fan myself. The Saw has been family for a real long time.
Fantastic. And you also mentioned when we were talking before about some of the Clive Barker movies.
Clive Barker solely has written, I mean, my favorite franchise is obviously Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I would say my all-time favorite horror movie is Nightbreed from the book Cabal. Clive Barker just kind of creates this amazing world of creatures from Midian that honestly still to this day amazes me and stands true to anything that comes out there. And also, I think he happens to be a fabulous artist and human being.
Amazing. How about, we got time for probably one more question left. Adam, where did you get that beautiful beard and mustache?
Somewhere around 20, the hair migrated from the top of my head to the chin. And I just let it take over.
Fantastic. Can we get a side profile of that beard, please? Love that. Just amazing. So groomed.
What products do you use?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I like shea butter, but I also tend to use products from a company out of Brooklyn that I absolutely love called The Holy Black.
Oh. And that is a wax or a cream or?
Oh, no, madam. That is all of your men's grooming needs, from mustache waxes to beard oils to conditioners to beard balms to beard butter to all things pretty much facial hair related.
Fantastic, because what you have going on is like amazing. It is like a work of art.
Well, thank you. I struggled with whether or not I should do it. And then I remembered that I am technically the ringmaster of a freak show and I can do whatever the hell I want.
Yes, you are. Brava, brava.
Live your truth.
Okay, everybody, we're at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, we are going to have Casey Lane. We've got some stuff to do, but we're going to do our commercial break. I want to thank Adam Hutter of the World Oddities Expo. That's coming up, everybody, next weekend, November 1st through 3rd. Go to woetothee.com. That is WOETOTHEE.com. And we'll be right back. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Now find them monthly at the Central Kentucky Mystical Market in Lexington. Or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being.
Hey there, Scarefest Radio. It's Joe Lewis with Bonehead Weekly with week 2 of reviews. That's right, Wes hasn't fired me yet. You're going to be happy. The reason being is I'm actually reviewing a movie made by a studio with a fairly decent budget, and I'm not going to shit all over it. That's right. Last week I saw Zombieland Double Tap, basically Zombieland 2. Now, a few years ago, I was on vacation in Cocoa Beach with James Thomas, also of Bonehead Weekly. We were there with a couple of ladies. One of them was James's ex-wife. Asked James about his ex-wife. He loves talking about it. And it was hot. We decided to go to the movies, and we saw this picture. This movie right here with Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Abigail Breslin, and Emma Stone. Directed by Ruben Fleischer. Written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. Didn't have a lot of expectations. Left it just with a big smile on my face. Hilarious Bill Murray cameos, a great scene that Christy loved with Woody Harrelson on an actual roller coaster shooting zombies, and she was like, why isn't this a video game? Probably isn't a video game. I don't play a lot of games. Then a few years go by, why don't we get a sequel? A few more years, I hear that they made a pilot for a television show that didn't go very well. Google it. And then 10 years later, we finally get the proper sequel that we deserve. And I'm here to tell you, it's about as 80% as good. About 80%. But that's not bad for a sequel. I've seen sequels that were 10%, 5%, or 0% as good as the original. The cast is all back. We have the same directors, same writers, and we have some great cameos from new people. And we have the beautiful Rosario Dawson, whom I am a huge fan of. Rosario. Anyway, check it out. Watch it. Stay for the end credits. There's a great cameo, a couple of them. Stay for the end credits. There's wonderful scenes with zombies getting killed with the Eiffel Tower, zombies getting killed with monster trucks. It's everything that you came to expect. But why is it still good? I think it's the writers, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. The reason I'm giving them complete credit for this is Ruben Fleischer made the not-so-good Venom. I know Chad Jennings loves that movie a lot. Sarcasm. But those guys wrote another 2 movies you may have heard of. They wrote Deadpool and Deadpool sequel. I know Ryan Reynolds is amazing, but somebody's got to write the dialogue for him, even though he's one of the writers on the second one. They're still the 2 go-to writers. Check them out. They've done a lot of great stuff. See if you like their other things. So, should you go see Deadpool Double Tap, or Deadpool Double Tap? Should you go see Zombieland Double Tap? Of course. You're already watching Scarefest Radio, television, whatever the hell Wes is calling this. Check it out. Spend a little money on horror. I'm sure the studios will love you for it. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. Thank you so much.
And hello everyone, and welcome back to the second half hour tonight of Scarefest Television. Of course, first half hour we spent talking to Adam Hunter of the World Oddities Expo. Now we've got a little segment here. The next 15 minutes we have on with us Casey Lane and her husband, correct, Brian. She is a psychic medium, and she will be leading we'll call it an expedition, an investigation, whatever word comes to mind is fine, of the Lord Baltimore Hotel next weekend in conjunction with the World Oddities Expo. Welcome, Casey and Brian.
Hi. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Now, the first thing, there was something on your page here that I just right away wanted this to jump. It had to do with group readings. You said that when somebody goes to one of your group readings, that everybody gets a reading. See, I would never go to your group reading. I don't want my shit out in public.
Well, let me clarify. I'm contacting loved ones only in a group setting.
My loved ones would throw me under the bus, ma'am. My loved ones would, in a heartbeat.
Your family will come and turn you.
Well, occasionally they do divulge some family secrets from over there, but
See.
usually it's just news of an impending birth coming into the family.
See, now I wouldn't even care about that anyway. Okay, you're going to do this investigation of the Lord Baltimore Hotel. I understand the super duper most haunted floor, the 19th floor. Now, I'm assuming that this is a hotel that you're familiar with as a psychic. Have you worked there before?
I've been there before. I have not worked there before as a psychic medium. I have been on a paranormal investigative team. I worked in many haunted locations throughout Baltimore. But prior to 13 years ago, I was on a paranormal investigative team for several years, and throughout the Baltimore area, we conducted many investigations. That was not one of the locations that I visited. So I'm looking forward to visiting the Lord Baltimore Hotel. I've been there as a patron, but not as a psychic medium.
Do you know, and this can be either by reading a book or being a psychic, why is the Lord Baltimore Hotel so haunted?
You know, I don't know, but what I read online is it's purported to have, unfortunately, some children that are haunting the hotel. But with what I find is most old locations, there's just a lot of old energy that you find in any of the old buildings. And Baltimore is a very old city, as you know. There's a lot of haunted locations in that area, particularly like the Fells Point area of Baltimore. I find to be probably the most haunted area, but that area in particular is a very old part of the city. And I'm sure many of the buildings are haunted. I know the row house I grew up in the city was haunted. And as a young child, that was probably my first exposure to interacting with the spirit world, was the ghosts that would come through the walls at night of that row house into my bedroom. So yeah, they're everywhere, but more so probably in those older buildings.
That's what I said. If you believe in ghosts and you do the math, the word is loaded with them. Most of them are quiet. Cece, over to you.
So Casey, how long have you been out as a psychic? I know a lot of times people have psychic abilities, but they don't always come public with them. So how long have you been kind of out in the public, letting people know what you do?
I've been working as a professional psychic medium 13 years last week.
Congratulations.
Prior, I worked on a paranormal investigative team for several years before I went into this field. So my first exposure was being a medium on a paranormal investigative team. Kind of ended that career with, do you know who Rosemary Ellen Golly is?
I recognize the name.
Yeah, she's probably the world expert on paranormal, published several books. And I was, the last foray I had into the paranormal world as an investigative medium was, I was honored to be with her out at the Ohio State Prison, which is very haunted.
Yes.
And she took me with her, and I was in a ghost hunting group at the time, and we went out there, and that was several years ago, and we conducted, was the last investigation that I went on, to be honest. And then you offered me this opportunity. And the reason it's attractive to me is my husband, Brian, and myself, we actually do house clearings here in Baltimore for clients who have, ghosts, or I prefer to call them earthbound energies, trapped in their homes that are bothering them. And out of respect to the fact that I look at ghosts as someone's soul that's still on the earth level versus the energies I'm connecting to as a medium now in my profession, they've left Earth. They're communicating from another dimension back to Earth. Then you have ghosts that are, souls that are resident on the Earth level that are wreaking havoc in people's lives in their houses. That's what we do as a house clearing little sideline that he assists me with, because even though Brian is more of a musician, he's my twin soul by default. He's somewhat mediumistic, and he and I work in tandem, and we'll go in, and usually it's a very quick hit thing within an hour. Within an hour, we'll go into someone's residential building, locate what's going on, and remove the energy, clear the space, and it's a little sideline we do. So that's why Brian's involved with this investigation with me, and why we thought it would be interesting to take on this opportunity, because he's actually a medium as well, although he doesn't pursue it on a professional level.
I can't get names and stuff. Like, she's pretty good with that type of thing. I can feel the spots where I feel that they're there. I'm usually right. Matter of fact, I have been right every time.
Fantastic. What is your favorite part for both of you? What is your favorite part about being sensitive to these things?
Well, my favorite part of what I do as a psychic medium is the soul healing part of giving people comfort that there really is life after life on Earth, that connecting them, validating beyond a shadow of doubt in their mind that their loved ones are alive and well. They're just on a different realm of energy, and seeing the release of energy from them, sometimes of grief that they've held on to in many cases for many years. So as a medium, it's soul healing work. It's different when you're dealing with earthbound energies. I mean, I think what we enjoy about that type of work is people are sometimes very terrified when we come into their homes because of the energies that are bothering them. And then honestly, once we've gone in and done removal, other than one woman who I think was a little mentally unbalanced, he's probably worked on like 30 cases. We've never had anybody come back and say they are still having an issue. So to give someone peace of mind in their own home again, to not be afraid to live in a house they're purchasing and they can't easily move out of it, I think gives us joy, because I've lived in haunted houses, and in fact I'm so energy sensitive at this stage of my life. I had the house that we live in, I bought the land. It was virgin land, from what I can tell, previously owned by a church. I had this built from the ground up because I was so tired of moving into homes that were imbued with other people's energy or that were haunted.
Yeah.
So this home, no one's lived in but us, and it is, we keep the energy clear. Once in a while we get an earthbound in here, but Brian's really good at getting them out.
Or something.
Yeah, well, we don't know those days are gone, but they do. Yeah, he brings up a very good point that bars are full of earthbounds or ghosts that love to hang out there, and they love to party with you and imbue the energy that you're enjoying when you're drinking and doing other things, and they'll attach to you and come home with you from bars.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
it's 2 a.m. They're coming home with you.
Yeah, they are. So, and not saying we never get them in our home, because we have a lot of clients that come in and out of our space here, but we work in tandem of, clearing them, and most people remark on how great the energy here is in our house, and there are people here all day long that are in all levels of emotional distress and bringing their loved ones in and out of the space with them. So, there's a lot of joy to be found in this type of work, but it can be very draining work to the medium.
Sure.
Very emotionally and physically. You're very limited to, I don't do typically more than 4 or 5 hours a day of this type of work. So.
And I know you said, when I've asked you before, you said you've been able to separate at times, so you can kind of turn it on and turn it off, so you can get some peace of mind where you're not doing this all the time. So I think that's amazing that you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had the honor of training with a top medium 10 years ago. And that was one of the first things that he taught us, and that you really have to learn if you're going to work professionally in this industry, is how do you turn your ability on and off and use it for each session, because I can't walk around with it on all the time. I turn it on for every session, turn it off. And, you know, as I was telling you earlier, you asked, do I carry the burden of all that, the pain and sorrow that the clients are in that I'm reading? And I actually don't, because I don't even remember the sessions most of the time. It's very much a channeled process, and I don't retain the information. So that's another reason Brian tags along with me, because he'll remember, or we'll write things down when we're investigating a property. But I'm not a formal member of an investigative paranormal team anymore, other than, you know, doing energy clearing for people in their residences, or we've done a few commercial buildings.
It's the Baltimore medium that time.
Well, you're part of one now for next Friday night, November 1st, at the Lord Baltimore Hotel on the 19th floor, and I can't wait to see what we come up with. Wes?
Really?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it as well. Absolutely. I will tell you, I'll be in a mental dilemma, though, because if there are child spirits trapped there, I will be very tempted to want to assist them in moving on to the next dimension.
Well, let me throw that out to you as a follow-up question. Now, I too, and I'm not a medium. I'm like a pseudo psychic. I'm a strong empath.
Yes.
But when I do when I do a public location, now I don't go in to clear it, but because I have that gift, if you will, I almost feel an obligation to at least leave the door open. You know what I mean? To give them that opportunity. If they want to leave, there's a door. How do you feel about that?
I completely agree with you. And that was part of the issue I ran into on the paranormal. Some of the paranormal groups that I interacted with didn't have the same philosophy. In fact, I don't want to say some of the clients even seemed to feel that the ghosts, the spirits that were trapped in their home were there for their entertainment purposes, and I had a different philosophy that they should potentially be given the opportunity, if you could assist them in transferring to the next dimension of energy where they belong, in helping them. So I ran into a few differences of opinion on some of the groups that I worked with over the years. Plus, I remember going into the last client's home I ever worked in, and it was around Halloween, and I remember locating, it was down in Highlandtown, which is another older part of the Baltimore City area, and went in, and there was definitely a child spirit female that was in this home, and the people would not allow me to remove it because they were going to have a Halloween party, and they wanted this ghost to be part of the entertainment, and I was just flabbergasted by their behavior. But yeah, I totally agree with your philosophy, though. They should be given the opportunity to move on.
Well, everybody,
so we don't know what we're going to run into there.
Like I said, this a quiet prayer. Leave the door open. Everybody, let's thank Casey and Brian for coming on tonight, telling us a little bit about what they do. Like I said, hang out with them at the Oddity Expo next weekend. We'll be right back. Everyone is talking about CBD oil, and it seems like almost everyone is using it. The research is ongoing, but the apparent health benefits are overwhelming. If you're going to use CBD products, though, what brand should you buy? First, find out where the hemp was grown. Imports are flooding the market. How potent is it? Look for a brand that plainly states its concentration on the label. And look for full spectrum CBD. This means the oil contains CBD and all the other cannabinoids, terpenes, and nutrients that are found in the entire cannabis plant. Look for Blue Leaf CBD oil. Blue Leaf Naturals is a Kentucky proud company. They use only Kentucky-grown hemp, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses. Visit their website at blueleafcbd.com now and use the code SMILE at checkout for free shipping. Horror never takes a rest, and neither do we, so today we look back at the week of October 19th through the 25th and discuss some of horror history's most notable moments. In Wichita, Kansas, Dennis Rader, also known as BTK, placed an anonymous call to the Wichita Police Department saying he had left a letter in an engineering book at the local library. The letter described in detail the killings of the Otero family he had committed earlier that year. The Otero family were the first victims of BTK, and he would later claim the lives of 10 victims during his reign of terror. 2 states over in Salt Lake City, Utah, Melissa Ann Smith, the 17-year-old daughter of a police chief, went missing after leaving a pizza parlor. 9 days later, her nude body was found in a nearby mountainside area. It would later be discovered that Melissa Ann had become the 10th victim of the infamous serial killer Ted Bundy. A little more on the paranormal side of horror. This week in 1967, 2 friends, Roger Patterson and Robert Gimlin, were taking a stroll through Bluff Creek in Northern California when they captured on film what they claim was Bigfoot. We've all seen the film, and whether or not you're on Team Believer or Team Hoax, you can't deny the impact that it's had on the cryptozoological world as we know it. Moving on to movie releases. This week brought us one of our all-time favorites with the release of the original Halloween. This cult classic introduced us to the iconic knife-wielding psychopath Michael Myers. This film also began the career of our favorite scream queen, Jamie Lee Curtis. 40 years later, on October 19, 2018, Curtis would reprise her role in the Halloween franchise with the release of the Halloween reboot. The reboot would go on to gross $77 million on opening weekend, which made it the highest in the Halloween franchise and the highest debut of any film with a lead actress over 55. Other notable movie releases this week include Night of the Living Dead in 1990, 13 Ghosts in 2001, and The Grudge in 2004. Before we bid you farewell, we would like to acknowledge a horror icon with a birthday this week. The king of horror himself, Bela Lugosi, was born on October 20th, 1889. Lugosi is most known for his portrayal of Count Dracula in the 1931 film Dracula. That would make this year Bella's 130th birthday. Not that old for a vampire. And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest Television. Okay, what we're going to do right now, I'm late giving away my $10 gift card to Shakespeare and Company in Lexington. It's a restaurant bar, great place to eat. So and drink, and last night they had like horror trivia. So here's what we need to do. We on the Facebook group. Now, this is the Facebook fan group. If you're not a member, sorry. But the Facebook fan group, it's the one that says the group at the top of the page. You'll know it. I just posted a banner for tonight's show. And it says, let's do the contest here. Now, the first person that I see pop up on that banner, that says, "Welcome to Die." Welcome to Die in honor of tonight's horror film short that we're going to be playing here in just a moment. The first person that says "Welcome to Die" will win that gift card. We'll stick it in the mail to you. So we're going to go ahead and start the short now. We're running just right on time.
I'm just going to do it then.
All right. Yeah. You're on camera dancing. Everybody, we're back with Scarefest Television. You have just watched Welcome to Die. We have the lead actor, and the director here now. So we've this is like a bonus. Now, before we get to our guests, we're just going to leave them on camera. But I do need to announce, Dina, you won. Dina won the $10 gift card. I guess I'll see her. I don't have to mail that. I'll see her tomorrow at the Scarefest. We're having a business meeting. So there, I saved myself 50 cents. Now, everybody, that was, once again, Welcome to Die. We are joined now by Joel Cordial and Greg Picklesheimer. I said it right. I wasn't prepped on that. I want to say, gentlemen, very well done on the short. We were talking a little bit during it because we had it all muted here. The film work and the audio, which I am picky, and I'm real picky about audio in movies. The elements of the film were very well done. Now, where did this film come from? Was it just something that you dreamed up? Was it a school project? Give us a background on doing this movie.
I was just simply just me and Joel just shooting some ideas, and we just wanted to shoot something because
This was during winter break. And we had been a good bit without having done a film for a while. And I made a promise to Greg. I'm like, Greg, we got to make a damn film in the 4 weeks that we have, and it was coming up on the last week of winter break. I'm like, I don't care what we do, we got to film something. I was getting withdrawals.
Yeah, and just you were looking at some locations, and you found this abandoned road somewhere in Ashland, and then just an idea just came to me. It's like, hey, why don't we have a story of just... So the story that I wrote was just an urban scavenger, someone who loots through abandoned properties for stuff to pawn.
Yes, I had that here. I had the official description here. A scavenger explores an abandoned road to nowhere, soon discovering a sinister entity that lurks in its shadows, trapped in a place where all are welcome to die.
Yep.
There, I did that for you.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn it over to CC after one more question. Now, if I had to pick one thing that caught me off guard about the short, this guy was incredibly well armed to just be walking around looking for crap.
Well, the way I looked at it was, if you go into any abandoned place, would you go unarmed? I wouldn't.
No, but I don't know that I'd be packing a shotgun and a pistol. Although my pistol I'd make sure it worked. I mean, that little part there, and then he just throws it away because I got extra pistols. I just okay. Now I'm not making fun of your movie so much. This is something that bugs me.
That's a fair analysis.
This is something that bugs me about every TV show and movie ever that has a gun in it that runs out of bullets. They toss them bitches away like they're free. And having a gun collection, I can tell you, no, you'll find more bullets eventually. You put the gun away. CC, over to you.
So I thought this was very entertaining. I would like to know exactly where you came up with the idea and what was the idea that you were trying to put across to your viewers?
I was just simply wanting to make a very simple supernatural thriller of just a simple situation with a paranormal threat of mysterious means. And I wanted to leave it open-ended to the audience so that they can come up with their own theories. Kind of like if you watched the first Halloween, if you've asked any fan, everyone has their own interpretation of why Michael does the things he does.
Yeah.
So the open-endedness of the entity's motives. I wanted to leave that open for the audience to come up with their own theories, their own ideals, to get them more invested in the story. But in theory, that would work. But there's been some questions like, it's like, why is the entity after this guy? And what does he want with his organs? And why is he covered in blood? So it's just a bit, but still, when some people get it.
For the record, none of those things bothered me. Once I got past him packing the shotgun, nothing else bothered me.
Well, that's good to know.
That's good. But I'm hoping that answers some of the question.
Yes. And Joel, how did you prepare for this? I mean, obviously you looked very serious. You were in character. How did you prepare for this?
Oh, there were many ways I had to prepare. I had to just, not only was I preparing like on an actor standpoint, I was also preparing on a production standpoint, because there's two people making this entire film. So I'm running around, setting up cameras. I'm going around making sure that everything is exposed properly, everything sounds all right, making sure that I'm in focus, and just all these different things. And there's just so much. Within days, I have to make sure I get all the footage back and make sure everything's good. But on an actor standpoint, in terms of acting and getting prepared, I had to ask him for a lot of advice. He majored in theater at Morehead State, and so he's much better in the whole acting standpoint of it. And so I had to go to him for a lot of advice on how to act, how to portray emotion and stuff like that. Because this is more of I'm not used to portraying a lot of like facial expression and emotion, so that's what I went to him for.
Yeah, it's just like, for example, the tool shed scene. There was a few takes where, the first few takes, I felt like he wasn't expressing pain. I was like, and when I directed him, I was like, dude, you're in a lot of pain. You have a jagged incision in the side of your rib cage. So every movement you make is going to feel like red hot railroad spikes hammered into your ribs. Every movement.
Yeah,
and
like someone has removed your organ.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like you have to pretty much portray that pain to the audience where they get the idea, oh, he's really hurting. So,
Joel, I think you did a really good job. Greg, with you having a lot of the actual acting background, have you thought about acting in one of these films instead of being the director?
I have acted in a few films with Joel in the past. I played the villain Nar in the Shelter series that he's written and directed. And we are currently doing a fourth Shelter film, the final one.
Fourth and final.
Yeah, and we're still in the process of shooting that.
We're about 75% with it complete. We got to get the ending and a conversation, and then that's it. So we're almost there.
And also another film. I'm sorry.
No, go right ahead.
And it's like in another film I acted in, also directed by Joel, was Death Romantic, where I played Death himself, and that was a lot of fun.
Very nice. Well, I feel like with Welcome to Die, I mean, I feel like you left the ending open so that you could keep going with this. I would be interested in seeing what you do with the part 2 to see more about the actual, the supernatural entity itself, to see what was going on. I would love to see a backstory. Have you thought about doing anything like that?
I could talk about it. I could talk a little bit about it. We had a really cool idea for like how we would set this up. See, we named the film Welcome to Die as if like we started it with the sequel. And so like the first one we want to do is Ready to Die, Welcome to Die, and then we want to do Chosen to Die. So it's going to be like a 3-part series where we explain, we give like the audience more of an idea of like who this character is. And so like because we want to keep these films out of order, it keeps the mystery of the character more interesting. Because if you do it at the beginning and show everything all at once, it doesn't make the character as interesting. And so you want to really scatter things out to where people are still interested in this character and what his motives are.
Very good, very good. So if you do another one, you're saying it might be a prequel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Very interesting. How about anything else on the horizon that you guys are putting together?
I'm going to be doing, like we mentioned, Shelter Amendment. I'm also considering doing a film challenge here on the 14th in Frenchburg, Kentucky. They're having a film challenge there. I'm thinking about pursuing that. I'm not entirely sure yet. That'll be right as finals and everything are going on. So if the timing is right, it's a 5-day challenge. I'll pursue it. I'm definitely wanting to do some things outside of school too. But like right now, I'm about to graduate, so I got to take a little bit of a break.
Fantastic. Wes?
Okay, a couple quick questions, and then we're going to let you all go. Now, first of all, one of them's not even a question. See, now, I watched it, and I didn't even pick up that there was a real paranormal aspect. I thought it was just some guy that hung out in a shed that stole people's kidneys. I mean, I live in Kentucky. What can I tell you? It didn't seem that strange. Now, something you all did mention when we were talking before the show, the kidney. When this came up in a jar, I just said the guy's kidney's missing. Okay, they're going to find it in the cooler. No, he just keeps them in jars. What? Now you were telling me that's probably one of the coolest special effects. That kidney looks like a kidney in the jar.
Yeah.
What did you all kind of give us a little backgrounding on the kidney in the jar?
You got this one. His process is insane, and how quickly we were able to come up with it. So I give the mic to him.
Yeah, it's like all we simply did was go up to Walmart and grab a $1 can of Play-Doh and just shaped it into a kidney and let it dry for a few hours. And then I took a few layers of different shades of red acrylic, different pinks, and a little bit of blue to give it that organ look. And then I just did different layers, and then took a cheap Dollar General brand of nail polish and just did a couple coats on both sides.
Like clear nail polish.
Oh.
Was it? I think it was clear. Right?
Yeah, it was clear.
So there's a little Halloween hint for everybody. Everybody else is doing grapes for eyeballs. That's how you make a kidney. Now, one last question. Now, one last question. I guess, Joel, this would mostly be for you. Tell me your process for the editing. We talked about how good the audio was, and the editing is about as it's good. It's about as good as you could do with with the amount of content you had. When you sit down to the computer, do you storyboard it out and lay out the video and then bring the audio back into it, or do you do that all as you go?
Okay. The way I set it up, each film is a little bit different in my approach. But the way first I want to touch up on the audio and how I do that, and then I'll go into a little bit more about the process of how I get everything out. I think I even have a photo on my Facebook. Maybe I don't know if you could pull that up, but it's a screenshot of my finished timeline. But the way I do the audio is I'll take what audio I have, I'll cut the film up the way I want, but in this case it's a little bit different because I knew beforehand that I was going to be inserting audio later. So if I had any audio beforehand that I was going to sync up or use that I got with a mic, I got that first. I synced up all those shots, and then I decided to cut. And then after the cutting process, I have 4 versions of a film. I have the I think 4. I want to say the rough cut, the pre-final, the I think it's for I call it the treatment and the total final. The treatment is what gets. I'll go through it again. The rough cut, the pre-final, the treatment, and the final. The treatment, the third one in that series, is what gets the audio and sound effects, and that's when I confirm that this is the cut I like. This is what I'm going to use, and so that'll be a majority of my time spent to that product. So if anything before that didn't work, then I'll just call that the pre-final. Because I'm definitely in a mindset to where I'm like, oh, I'm happy with this cut. I do need to do a few other things, so I'm not wasting my time, Like, I don't want to put all these sound effects in and dedicate all this time to something that I know I'm going to change later. So I'll confirm that this is my treatment and this is what's going to get the final product of what will be the film.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for letting us show your film, first of all. And thank you for coming on for the interview, and it was fun and interesting. And I said it before, I'll say it again. I like what I saw. I think if you all get the right story and the right budget, I can see something really great coming out of you too.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We're gonna knock out a couple of commercials, everybody, here at the end of the show. Then Cece, if you'll stick around, we'll close out the show together. Everybody, we got just a few more minutes. You're watching Scarefest Television.
Thank you very, very much.
I will. As soon as I get a long break, I will. Just a minute. Okay, everybody, very quickly, Central Kentucky Mystical Market Lexington, coming up. The date on that is November 9th. CentralKentuckyMysticalMarket.com. Don't forget that.
Dan!
Okay, while Dan's playing.
Hello! It is I, the great Professor TV Dornack again, right out here with Louisville Halloween for the Scarefest. This is Sparky. Sparky's here with the Vortex. Well, the Vortex is a full streaming channel that has a lot of great horror hosts. And what is it, 26 countries?
Yes, 26 countries, about 2,400 viewers a week.
About 2,400 viewers. And so they're from all over the world watching horror hosts. Old and new, right?
Yeah, old and new. From Mephisto all the way to you.
That's right. Mephisto, I've seen on there, I've seen plenty of great classic horror hosts, but then a lot of the new ones. I've seen Slash Cooper on there. I've seen Bobby Gamonster.
Bobby Gamonster is great. He even made me a birthday special one year.
Really?
Yes. It was for my favorite public domain film, Planet of Dinosaurs. The chat runs 24/7, as does our stream, but at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Wait. Central, 8 p.m. I'm in Central. 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we start our nightly feature. And we have a chat that goes along with it from other horror hosts to other fans, and we can all talk to each other while we watch the show.
It's called The Vortex, but if you go to the website, I believe it's called www.horrorhost.net.
Shout out to Pepper, Ratnest, Flashback Jack, and yeah.
They're watching right now, I guarantee it.
Oh, they are.
Well, thank you. And you came all the way from Louisiana?
Yeah, I drove up from Port Allen, Louisiana.
All the way up from Louisiana to visit us here in Lexington at Scarefest and check out all the wonderful celebrities out here and all the wonderful vendors. And have you gotten anything so far today?
I've gotten some signatures. I got to meet Skeet Ulrich, and I got a Scream soundtrack signed. And I met 2 members of the cast from Return of the Living Dead, and I got the soundtrack signed.
Nice. Well, I'm hoping you'll get a lot more opportunities out here today. There's plenty of good stuff, a lot of swag, a lot of great costumes. So we're going to keep going around and showing you those as well.
And welcome back, everybody. We're almost done with Scarefest Television tonight. I just wanted to bring Cece, my new co-host, on to say goodnight to her before we let you go. What do you think of the new format, Cece?
I like it very much. I think it's workable. I think we should actually show a little bit more of me and a little bit less of you, but I think we're getting there.
I believe me, that'll be coming. That'll be coming because I do what the viewers want. But everybody, we're going to close. I have a following. It's mostly like soccer moms, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Now, everybody, a quick reminder, next week, we do not have a show. So just, if you're on Facebook, you'll catch me doing Facebook Live, but we're not going to do an actual show next week. I'm taking the holiday off. That's the way you can look at it. I'm taking the holiday off. Some things I do, we don't have to pull it up, but I can remind everybody. First of all, the Scarefest wines are on sale. Go to thescarefest.com, click on merchandise, and there's a link for the wines. Everybody, little secret. The first hotel is up on the website. The Hilton has finally released us the portal page to book rooms at the Hilton. So if you're not getting a platinum ticket, now if you're getting a platinum ticket, you don't have to worry about this stuff. But if you're booking a gold ticket or you just want to go ahead and book your room plenty ahead of time, the Hilton, if you want to stay at the Hilton, they gave us a special room rate. They gave us a block, guaranteed us so many rooms. So, but they're going to run out. It's a busy month. So the Hilton is that is posted on thescarefest.com under Plan Your Trip, so you can get that done. I want to thank Dina Went for playing my game tonight and winning the $10 gift card. And then in a couple weeks, before you know it, I'll be at it's like the 22nd or something. I'll be at GalaxyCon. So we've got another event coming up. We got a lot of stuff going on with Scarefest Television. Cece, thank you.
Thank you, Wes. Have a good night.